Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen, and today is a video that I have been preparing for like 5 or 6 weeks. It's taken me forever to narrow this down, and even at that, it's not narrowed down that much. So today's video is going to be my top 25 slicers of 2023. Ben, my husband, and I, we did taste test videos. I have a playlist of taste tests. One of the things I want to say about my garden of 2023, I actually had 2 gardens. I had the one here at my home, and then I had another one called Materville that was grown in another piece of property. A family member let me start a garden, and I just filled it with tomatoes. We actually didn't get that much rain this year, so cracking was not a big issue. Most of my tomatoes were blemish free. The ones I'm going to talk about were pretty much blemish free. There wasn't any issues, and I think that's because I don't water, and we didn't have a lot of big rains, like downpours, several inches, nothing like that. Toward the end of the season we had one, and I did notice some cracking. So that has to do with whether you get cracks in your tomatoes. But for this year, I had tons of gorgeous tomatoes. So let's get into it. I'm going to share with you my top 25 slicers of 2023. I'm going to start with my 2 very, very favorites. I fell in love with Green When Ripes this year. They are so good. They pack such a punch of flavor. They're very different. And I think a lot of people don't know that there are tomatoes that are green when ripe. They think of a green tomato, they think of an unripe tomato. That is not the case. There are so many good green when ripes. My all-time favorite was Abraham Green this year. Abraham Green, it was a very productive plant. And I want to make sure y'all know it's not related to Abe Lincoln. That tomato is an heirloom and it's different. It's not created by the same person. Abe Green was created by Miller Murdoch from Flat Rock, North Carolina. He created Abraham Green and Abraham Brown. Abraham Brown's not in this one. Although it was good, but it's not in my top 25. So you can get Abe Green seeds at Tomatofifou. A lot of these tomatoes you can get at Tomatofifou. It's a great place to get some very cool, interesting tomatoes. So I'm going to kind of tell you whether I got these seeds at a store, or on a website, or whether I traded for them. Abraham Green is very bright, a beautiful, gorgeous, medium to large size slicer. Some of my tomatoes were pretty large. It's got a good bite to it, nice firmness, and it's a slap you in the face deliciousness, like some other greens were. Now I did have some greens I didn't like. Abe Green was really, really delicious, and it was long producing. It produced all the way through. Even when it started to get cooler, I was still getting some tomatoes on it. Although they weren't as tasty as the midsummer ones, they were still really good. Number 2, my second all-time favorite green one was Green Giant. Now, Green Giant, I do have the seeds. This is the packet of seeds that I grew from, and it was a trade. Green Giant, I think, matches Abraham Green in flavor. But Green Giant had even bigger slicers, very meaty. This one was like an emerald green, and it had like dark green splotches on it. It was very interesting looking. I might go back and put little clips of what the center and the outside look like from my other videos. We'll see. It was just very interesting looking. Again, another one of those greens that just slaps you in the face with its tartness, its sweetness, its deliciousness. It had a good bite to it. I'm very particular about the firmness of my tomatoes, as well as the skin. The skin wasn't tough. Delicious tomato sandwich. One of the other things I like about this one was that it held up really well. Like some tomatoes, when you go to cut them up, all the gel in the seeds falls out. This is not one of them. I like that when a tomato doesn't do that. Number 3 is going to be West Virginia Straw. Now I'm going to say the rest of these are not in order of how much I like them. Okay, so but number 3 is West Virginia Straw, and I got these seeds from Forgotten Heirlooms. On his packaging he writes what so it's a potato leaf, big pink juicy beefsteak. This says moderate producer. I would agree with that. It's a moderate producer. It did pretty well for me. So a guy named Mr. Straw brought this tomato back from World War I, from Germany. If you like a good old-fashioned tomato flavored tomato, this is the one for you. It has lots of meat, and it's nice and juicy. Like even the actual, like, so gel and seeds, of course that's juicy, but the actual meat of it was very juicy too, which is something that I liked. And all of it had flavor. The skin had good flavor, the meat had a good flavor, the gel and seeds have good flavor. And another thing I liked about West Virginia straw is it sat well on the countertop. So there was quite a few tomatoes that you take them off the vine, you bring them in the house, a couple days later, they were already starting to get funky. This one sat on the counter, I think, for a week and was still perfectly blemish free, didn't get any weird spots on it. Number 4 is gonna be Santa Maria. So this is a sort of large slicer paste type, I would guess you would say. It comes from Italy, and this tomato placed first, let me see, I have some notes written down here. It placed first in Tomato Fest out of 274 varieties in 2017. So I'm not a huge fan of paste type tomatoes, but I liked this one enough that it made it into the top 25s. Of course, I like to grow tons of different varieties, but this would be the paste that would go back into my garden if I, didn't have 500 other pastes that I need to try. This tomato is just all around good for everything. It made a good sandwich. Of course, it'd be great in sauces because it's a paste. It creates really big ones, and it was very big, very, very big producer for me. Like I remember going over one time and getting like 5 or 6 tomatoes off of the plant on one visit. It's very meaty, of course, for a paste, and it's not mealy. One of the reasons why I don't like pastes is because a lot of times they're kind of mealy or mushy. This one was not mealy or mushy. It had a good bite to it, and the meat was very juicy as well, which sometimes pastes can be kind of dry. This one was just a perfect paste in my opinion. Number 5 is going to be Butterscotch beefsteak. I got these seeds from Forgotten Heirlooms again. This one is like one of the most unique colored ones. It's a solid, like, I don't know, butterscotch amber, really interesting color on the outside. A medium to large sized slicer, and even the flesh was similar to the skin's color when you cut into it. A little bit paler, but still really like butterscotchy, amber colored with some pink running through it a little bit. In the seed pockets, the green in the seed gel, it was green. It was really pretty once you sliced into it. These did vary in size. I had some really, really big ones and then some smaller ones that you could almost say were like saladette size. But for the most part, medium sized slicers. It had a good meat to gel ratio, which I'm a fan of. I don't like too much goo. I like a little bit in the middle because the gel has some good flavor too. This one had a very unique profile as well, which I found very attractive. And I forgot to say, this one was created by Dean Slater. This one was hard to describe as far as flavor. It just had a lot of different ones as you chewed it up. Like at the beginning, it was sweet, and then a little bit further into it, it was tart. A little bit further into it, it had like the classic tomato flavor. It was just like one of those ones that you sat there and you're like, like very interesting. So I really liked Butterscotch beefsteak. Number 6 was Copper River. Another one that is just absolutely gorgeous. The coloring of it is so interesting. It was developed by Lynn Brown of Napa Valley, California. It's another medium to large slicer. Most of these are. Those are the kind that I like. These were pretty uniform in size. They were all pretty much the same size. You'd consider this one a bicolor because the outside was like, it had this like marbled coloring to it. Like it was like deep brown with some, like a little bit of a green top. And then when you cut into the inside, it was like pow with just beauty. Very different from the outside coloring. It was green with a little bit of pink. It was just absolutely insane looking. When I cut into it, I was like, whoa. You can get these seeds from Tomatofifou. You can get them from Heirlooms. I would compare the flavor of this to last year. In last year's taste test, I tasted one called Harvard Square. And it sort of had the same similar look to the inside, I believe. And it tasted very similar to that. It was very unique. I can't even describe it. If you want to try a tomato where you're just kind of like, what is that? Copper River is one to give a go. It was just all around very unique. If I didn't have 5,000 tomatoes that I want to try, that would go into my garden next year for sure. The next one is, we're on number 7. It's Polaris. So I got these seeds in a seed swap. This is a Karen Oliver creation. on TLC, Tomato Lovers Collective and Swap, Lauren, the administrator, just put up I forget what you'd call it, but like a list of all the tomatoes that Karen Oliver has created thus far. I have a few. I don't have very many, but I would like to collect them all. And she has different series. So this one was part of the True North series. I would say this one was an okay producer. So Polaris is a darker tomato. I really enjoyed dark tomatoes last year, so I collected a lot of seeds of dark tomatoes. A dark bottom, and then it had like green shoulders. And then the inside is a dark color to match what the outside looks like. This one was very meaty and juicy, delicious. It was tart. I don't know, it was like a party in your mouth kind of fun tomato. I really enjoyed this one. And then the meat of it was, I would almost say like creamy or velvety in texture. It wasn't mushy, it wasn't mealy. It just kind of melted in your mouth. I really liked it. But it was another one of those ones that just like, you took a bite of it and just slapped you in the face with flavor. And those are my favorites. So Polaris was a winner for me as far as flavor. Next one that was super good was Kazula 179. Again, can get these at Tomatofifou and at Heirlooms. So the Kazulas are a line that are created by a person named Anna Jankowski, and her nickname is Kazula. I believe that word means scientist. There is like a website that you can go to that will tell you all about, I think I put it up in another video. I can't remember which one it is, but where you could go, I believe it was a seed haul video, but where you could go to the website and you could see all the Kazulas that have ever been created and what the crosses are. But these are some magnificent looking tomatoes. If you like unique looking outside, unique tasting tomatoes, and for the most part, most of the Kazulas taste really, really good. I have a few in this lineup. So I'm a collector of the Kazulas. Any Kazulas, I want them. I want to try them. But they are just fantastic tomatoes. Again, this is a medium to large slicer. I would say more on the larger size. Some of these were pretty big. Color of it is like, they're stunning. It's a deep orangey butterscotch with like green striping. And then on the inside of it, had like a lighter butterscotch interior. Very, very pretty. And this is one of those multi-flavored tomatoes. Like at first it's very, very sweet. You chew it up, it starts to become tangy. And I like the tangier tomatoes. I also like sweet, so this was the best of both worlds. Started out super sweet and you're like, ooh, and then it's like you get that little boop. All the tomatoes I got from the plant were good looking tomatoes. I'm gonna do another Kazula 174. These were a trade. So I used the trade seeds, but I also have seeds from Tomatofifou. Again, created by Anna Jankowski. This is like an orange yellow with green stripes on the outside, and then on the inside, it's stunning. It's like I said, the Kazulas are just incredible. Like they just, when you cut into it, it's bright orange and it's got a little bit of red running through it. And I do mean like bright orange. Sort of similar to the flavor of 179. It was sweet in the beginning and tangy. So again, it was one that Ben and I loved. It was really good. Next one, number 10, pink Berkeley Tie Dye. Again, these were swap seeds that I used to grow this one. This one is a fan favorite. This one I remember hearing about long ago, probably when I started gardening. I never got the seeds for it, don't know why. But then last year, a friend of mine said she picked it up in a nursery, and I was like, oh, it's becoming more popular. I need to give this one a go. If it's that popular that they're growing it and selling it in nurseries. I know why. It's a fan favorite now. It's gorgeous on the outside, very beautiful. It's a medium-sized slicer, I would say, medium to large. The size can kind of vary. This one I did get a few fused blossoms. Like a darker colored tomato, a deep pink with really beautiful striping on it. I think I took a picture of some of mine. I will throw that up here. Pink Berkeley Tie Dye has a fantastic flavor profile. It's got a good meat to seed ratio. It was really yummy. I really like Pink Berkeley Tie Dye. It's one that if I saw it on the counter with a bunch of other ones, I would go for that one because I just knew it was going to be good. This is a Brad Gates creation. I think I have quite a few in my lineup of Brad Gates. He is owner of Wild Boar Farms, and he knows what he's doing when he creates tomatoes. I can say that much. I now want to collect all of Brad Gates tomatoes. I have quite a few, but not all of them. I will someday. There are different tie-dyes too, which I want to collect. There's a green Berkeley tie-dye. I have seeds for that one. I'm going to try that one. How this got its name, I thought was really cool. When I looked it up, it said that there was a hippie that I guess he was, you know, I don't know whether he was selling tomatoes or what he was doing, but there was a hippie that came, picked it up, and he said it reminded him of a tie-dyed shirt. So that is how it got its name. Of a hippie's old tie-dye shirt, something like that. It is named after a tie-dyed shirt. But it's really pretty, and it kind of does look like the swirls and everything. You know how you tie-dye something in the swirls? It's really pretty tomato. It's got great texture, like the meat and gel. It's perfect in your mouth. It's a good tomato. Number 11 is Pineapple Pig. Another Brad Gates creation. Oh my goodness, when I saw a picture of this one, I just had to have seeds for it. Pretty sure I got the seeds from Tomato Galaxy, or it was Hand Me Down Farms. I'm not sure. But what Hand Me Down Farms is now called Victory Seeds. So they changed their name. But it's a beautiful pale white. So you could probably, this is probably in the lineup of white tomatoes, but it's like pale white, a little bit creamy yellow. But it had like ribbons of yellow, as well as like it looked like paint splatter of like a little bit of dark dark paint splatter on it. It was really pretty. Inside is a pale yellow as well when you cut it. This one had a nice firm texture. I like the texture of the meat. The skin was nice. The skin was not tough at all. It broke it up in your mouth very nicely. This was another one where I noticed that the meat and the goo held up nicely. Like the goo didn't fall out of it really. I mean, it was a nice firm tomato. It held up really well on a sandwich. And it was a really good producer. I think it produced all the way up into the end of the season. Big, large slicers. I really liked Pineapple Pig. It's gorgeous, tasty. I think did I say what it was? It's sweet and tangy. Another one of the sweet and tangies. I like sweet and tangies, apparently. Next one is going to be Meat Breakfast. Meat Breakfast was a swap. Whoa. This was one that, like, when we first taste tested it, it was impressive. It holds up to its name. It's a yellow-orange big slicer. Some of them were really, really huge. But I would say it's large to huge slicer. Like big tomatoes, this is one that you'd want to grow. But when you cut into it, it's like all meat. Nice, firm, juicy, delicious meat. Like a steak, like a filet mignon steak. It wasn't mealy at all, which to look at it, you would think it was gonna be because it was just all meat. Not at all. It was delicious. This one had a good bit of acidity for an orange tomato. I was impressed. Sometimes the oranger ones can be kind of blah. This one was not. This one was packed full of flavor. And I wouldn't say it was very sweet. Mild sweetness to it. Medium of the road production, but gorgeous, gorgeous tomatoes. I enjoyed Meat Breakfast this year. Next one, Big Yellow Zebra. So this is, it says Hand Me Down Farms, but again, this is Victory Seeds. But I got these seeds a couple years back. Stunning tomato. When you had them on the table with tons of other tomatoes that looked really, really gorgeous, because I grow a lot of gorgeous tomatoes, this was one that stood out. It was just like pow with color. It was this bright yellow with like zebra-like, even brighter stripes. My daughter loved this one as well. If it was on the counter with a bunch of other ones, it's the first one she would cut up to put in her eggs or on a sandwich. The inside was like a pale yellow flesh. Really good flavor. It wasn't very acidic, but it had that really nice sweet tartness to it. Nice firm meat, very juicy. Skin wasn't tough. It was a really good all-around tomato and a very good producer, very, very good producer. I know a lot of times because, I mean, I loved it so much and my family loved it so much. I know it's a good producer because I gave some of those away. Like, there was a lot of times where if I really liked tomatoes, those wouldn't go into the piles that I was just giving away to everybody. I mean, I gave away a lot of good stuff, but this was one that it was a very big producer because I gave away some of them. And it's a more fruity one, I should say that. It was definitely more fruity, but it did have some good acidity. Another Brad Gates creation. I really like his tomatoes, apparently. Rusted Soul. So I got these seeds from Tomato Galaxy. And you can actually see what Rusted Soul looks like on that little package, which I love that about this store, Tomato Galaxy, is that it gives you what it looks like. So it was like a rusty orange color, very gorgeous on the outside, good medium to large slicers, very productive, is very interesting color, not like anything else I had in my garden. This one was sweet, juicy, slightly acidic, but it was the inside that like amazed me. So the outside is that dark color, and then you cut into it and it is like straight green with a little bit of red running through it. It was just like, whoa, again, one of those. And it was just a good all-around tomato. I liked Rusted Soul. Number 15, Marcia's Starfighter Heart. And this was a seed swap. So this is from the Star Wars project, which was developed by Marcia Eisenberg from Florida. So there's several tomatoes in the Star Wars project. So on my taste test, I believe I called it Rebel Starfighter Heart, which is not its name. It is Marcia's Starfighter Heart. I grew Rebel Starfighter Prime last year. I think I did a taste test on it. I'm not sure, but it was really, really good. So now I'm collecting all of the Star Wars varieties. I think I have 5 total now of this kind of this series of tomatoes. It's another one that's very unique in coloring and shape. So it's like a heart-shaped slicer. It did fair in production, but I think that might have been where I had it planted. It was planted kind of where the sun wasn't hitting it as much. So I think it could have been a better producer if I had put it somewhere else. So the flavor of it, it's very tart in the beginning, and then it gets a little bit, as you chew it up, more complex. It's just very interesting. But at the very end, it had a little bit of an earthy taste, but I'm not a fan of the earthiness, but I'm not gonna knock it because the rest of the time it's in your mouth, it's delicious, and it's gorgeous and very meaty, very juicy. I liked Marcia's Starfighter Heart. Number 16 is Girl Weird Thing. So I kept hearing, and this was a swap, I kept hearing a lot about this tomato last year when I first entered Facebook tomato groups. They were talking about this one, and I was like, oh, well, I need to have it. So when I saw it on someone's list, I traded for it. Girl Weird Thing is a mutation of green zebra. Green zebra is a delicious tomato. I think I grew it my first year gardening, and it's like a smaller saladette green. It's very delicious. It's a medium-sized slicer, medium to large size slicer. It varies in size a little bit. I had some quite big ones, near a pound. The coloring of it is incredibly unique. I think I have some pictures of what my tomatoes look like. And I know why everybody loves this tomato. It is delicious. Very unique flavor. It's very juicy, but at the same time, it's got a really good classic tomato flavor to it. It was just interesting. I really enjoyed it. Good production, good meat to gel ratio, good tomato. Rose Beauty. So I got these seeds from Forgotten Heirlooms, and his package says it's an heirloom from Kentucky from Dale Rose's family on Happy Top Mountain. So this was a bit like a large bicolored slicer. It was yellow in color with some orange striping towards the bottom of it. And then the center of it was a light, like pale yellow color, and it was very meaty, very juicy, good flavor. It had a nice amount of tartness to it and a very good texture. Like I enjoyed the texture of this meat a lot. So it was a very good tomato sandwich tomato. Number 18 is going to be Striped Sweetheart Dark, and I got these seeds from Delectation of Tomatoes, another place I love to. This guy has so many, he has like 2,500 different varieties of tomatoes. So I did a seed haul last year. Lots and lots of tomatoes. If you want to fall down a rabbit hole, go on to Delectation of Tomatoes website. You will be on there all day looking at tomatoes. This was a really good one. Striped Sweetheart Dark. It was I would say a smaller size slicer. These are the kind that my daughter's drawn towards. The smaller size slicers had very good production. This one's a potato leaf, very meaty. The outside of it is like a heart-shaped bicolor. How do I want to describe it? It's a similar coloring to Girl Weird Thing, but I feel like the green was a little bit brighter on it. Very meaty, nice amount of juiciness to it. Good flavor profile. This one was very rich and sweet. Very rich and sweet. It was a very good flavored tomato. Made for a good one to cut up and put into your eggs. The next one is going to be Burka Blue, which this was a swap. And this is, in my opinion, kind of highly sought after because it has variegated foliage. Very, very pretty foliage. And the tomato is very lovely as well. It's a small to medium-sized slicer. It's got like a dark, rusty bottom and then like a green tan top to it. Really, really pretty. The fruits themselves were nice and firm. Like when you cut into them, they weren't squishy at all. I like that on a tomato. Super sweet. One of the sweetest tomatoes I have ever tasted was Burka Blue. Just really good, really, really good taste. Just sweet, sweet, sweet. Next one's going to be Black Milo. So I got these seeds when I went to the seed swap. And this is from Granddad's Barn Farm. And I actually swapped some of my seeds for this. So seed swaps are fun. I'm going to another one in January and I'm super excited for that. But Black Milo is a huge slicer. Huge producer. It's big old pink tomato with green shoulders. And then on the inside, it's deceiving. It looks like it's going to be boring. When you cut into it, it's just this like pale pink inside, like a store-bought tomato looks like. And so when I first saw this tomato, when I first sliced into it, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this. But then, when you put it in your mouth, it has an umami flavor. It is one of those ones, I think I've got a couple in this lineup, that it feels like you're eating steak. And it tastes like you're eating steak. It's a savory tomato. I don't know how to put it. It's almost like your tomato was sitting in steak juice. I don't know. But it's incredible. And it's one of those ones that's unique. I love unique flavored tomatoes, except for when they don't taste like tomatoes at all. I keep saying I like unique ones, but then I'm thinking about some of the others that are about to be in my Never Grow Again video, and they're unique, but they're nasty. So this one is a very unique umami type taste to it. Mild acidity. It's just one of those ones that when you cut into it, it looks like it's going to be watered down, and it is definitely not watered down at all. It was a delicious tomato, and that was Black Milo. Next tomato is going to be another green one. This one was Remove Baba. I can't pronounce that. I'm so sorry. It's a Russian variety, and it was created back in 2013, so fairly new, only 10 years old. It's a green one. It's like a flattened large beefsteak. I got quite a good production on. I only had one plant, and it did really, really well, and it produced all the way through the season. This one has lots of sweet and lots of sour. It's a good, if you like sour tomatoes, a lot of green ones do have that really sour tartness, and this one really, I mean, it slap you in the face flavor. And I would say it's like an average on the counter. I remember a lot of times these would sit there for a good while before they'd start getting funky. So it's a good countertop tomato, I would say. The inside has like this light green, bright flesh, like an unripe tomato looks. It's nice and meaty, nice and juicy. It is definitely not got any classic tomato flavor to it, but it's delicious. The next one's gonna be number 22. We're almost there, guys. German orange strawberry. So this was a swap, German orange strawberry. This one was a beautiful, brilliant orange tomato. The inside is also beautiful and brilliant orange. When you cut into it. This one is another one that was super, super sweet. Another one that was very, very good producer. Lots and lots of tomatoes on one plant. And it's, I don't think I told you, it has a slight heart shape to it. It's like a round heart shape. It doesn't like come to like a point at the bottom. It's like a round point. But it was a lovely tomato. Very juicy, blemish-free tomatoes. This one was similar to another one we taste tested called Apricot Brandywine. And the flavor of Apricot Brandywine was very similar to this one too, looks and flavor. I think I compared them on the video. I think we tasted them on the same taste test. But I like this one better because of the texture. So apricot brandy wine was a little bit mushier, and this was like the firm kind of, you know, bite type tomato that I like. The next one, Summer of Love. This is seeds that I got in a swap, but they obviously got the seeds from Heirlooms, because I've never ordered from Heirlooms. I plan to. I think I've got a bunch of stuff in my cart right now, and I want to make an order from Heirlooms. But Summer of Love, it was a dark tomato, medium to large slicer. Another one that was unique in coloring. It had like green streaking, red, yellow streaking. It was just really pretty. This one had really nice tomato flavor, so a good classic tomato flavor to it. It had a nice amount of acidity, not a lot, but a nice amount of it. But it also had like these wine-like undertones to it as you chew it up. And this is another one of Brad Gates' varieties. Brad Gates, do you know how to create tomatoes? It's another very, very juicy, very, very flavorful. I really like this one. Number 24 was Grant County Pink. So I got these seeds from Forgotten Heirlooms. Another gorgeous, you can see on the picture there. Let me read what he says. This is a Kentucky heirloom. Large pink beefsteak tomatoes, potato leaf plants. This was one of, I guess you could say, I guess I would describe it as one of the more boring looking tomatoes that I grew, but it was not boring in flavor, I can say that much. It was a huge producer, large pink beefsteaks, the inside of it, same color as the outside, had a great meat to gel ratio to it. It was, it had a real fun flavor, I guess you can say. It was sweet and tangy, a great tomato sandwich tomato, and it had a fantastic texture. I really enjoyed it. And the meat itself had a lot of flavor, and the meat was very juicy as well. It was a good all-around tomato. I really liked Grant County Pink. Last one is Black Mamba. I think I got these in a swap as well. It's a large slicer, over a pound. It's got a deep, rich color on the outside. The flesh is the same as the outside, but it's also got some, a little bit of green on the shoulders. A nice firm tomato, very meaty. This one is a cross of Lucky Cross and an unknown variety. It's something that appeared in Miller Murdoch's garden one year, and he named it Black Mamba. But it's got, again, it's a dark tomato, and one of those dark tomatoes that has that umami flavor. I loved it. Again, like steak, like the firmness of the tomato, the umami flavor that it has just makes you feel like you're eating a steak. And that's one of the reasons I fell in love with dark tomatoes last year, is when I had one that had that delicious, like I'm salivating thinking about it. It had that delicious umami steak flavor. I don't know. They're really good. Like there's some tomatoes that none of them made the cut in here, but they have like a mayonnaise type flavor to them. So like I really like the ones that, you know, have like either they're super tart and tangy, fruity, or umami. So I just picked 10 of these, and these were my favorites, and I'll tell you why real quick. 10, Pineapple Pig. For a white yellow, it has awesome flavor, because a lot of the white yellows are bland. This one was not. It was awesome. 9, Rusted Soul. It surprised me the most when you cut into it. I was just like, boom, with the color of the inside. Number 8, Black Milo, the umami flavor. Delicious. Number 7, Burka Blue, because of the variegated foliage. That's fun. 6, Girl, Weird Thing. It lived up to the hype. That's why it's in the top 10. Number 5, Kazula 179. Because I had to have a Kazula in here. 4, Copper River. Copper River was the most unique tomato all around, with everything. Flavor, looks, production. Number 3, Big Yellow Zebra. Most beautiful outside. The skin of it is just absolutely gorgeous. Number 2, West Virginia Straw. It's the best as far as classic tomato flavor. Number 1, Aid Green. Best green I grew this year. All right, guys, so that's it. Top 25. I hope you enjoyed. Now I'm going to get to recording the worst of the worst for this year. I want you all to guess which one in the worst of the worst, what's going to be my top most disgusting tomato? Guess it in the comments. I bet you can. If you watch my taste test videos, I bet you'll know which one it is. But until the next one, guys, I hope you all enjoy your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe.